Could you imagine if Hope was like, let's add that to the PowerPoint? Excuse
what
me?
year is it?
How old am I? This is how the podcast breaks up.
This is the last episode of Supergirl Radio. You want a Kryptonian? You got one.
Is it a movie about saving Argo? The answer to that one is no. It's called Witch for a Summer! Exclamation point. Where does she want to go? Ask her. Talk to her. Really commune with flat Supergirl.
Did we set the bar too high or too low?
I think we set the bar real medium.
You're doing an intensely adequate podcast.
Good.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Noyce, and you're listening to Supergirl Radio.
McGurk! I love
Not
typing.
mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira.
I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom. Because
She looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Welcome to Supergirl Radio, your source for all things related to the CW Supergirl TV series and the character of Kara Zor-El. My name is Rebecca Johnson, and my usual co-host, Morgan Glennon, is on vacation this week. So I am live and wired on the Supergirl Radio Facebook page and the DC TV Podcast YouTube channel with a special guest who is actually no stranger to Supergirl Radio. So John Wilson, you're going to be with us to guide us and help us guide us through the history of Krypto the Superdog. So welcome back to Supergirl Radio, John.
It has been way too long. There were no cameras last time. I didn't know how I was going to fit the entire studio crew into my apartment, but here they all are. They look great.
That is true. I think the last time you might have been on Supergirl Radio was actually for the Streaky the Supercat character spotlighted. That possibly, I can't. I'll have to go back into the archives, but I thought it would be fitting for you to come on and talk about Krypto the Superdog with me, since we talked about his feline. That's cat, yes. Feline and canine. Feline counterpart, Streaky the Supercat. We're now going to talk about the canine super in the Superman family. So even though actually since I guess some people would be listening or watching this and thinking, why are they talking about Krypto the Superdog? Well, two reasons. Krypto the Superdog is about to make his big screen appearance in the DC League of Super Pets animated feature film coming out next month. And he has also quite recently been associated with Kara Zor-El quite a bit. He's actually appeared alongside Supergirl in recent comic book runs, Future State, Kara Zor-El Superwoman, and Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. So those things have been out there and pairing Supergirl with Krypto. So Supergirl, and actually we're going to talk about some other instances in which Supergirl and Krypto have been associated as well. But this is all in preparation for the animated feature film that is coming out, I believe, July 9th, 2022. So it will hit theaters. Right. Hit theaters then, so it's coming up soon. So we need to learn about Krypto the Superdog so that we can fully appreciate his big screen debut in the theaters. But before we do that, we need to get to
the news.
According to Deadline.com, Donald Faison and Abigail Spencer are set as the co-leads opposite Jon Cryer and Mike O'Malley's off-cycle multicam NBC comedy pilot from Lionsgate. I said Lionsgate strangely. I apologize for that. From Lionsgate Television. Written by Survivor's Remorse creator O'Malley, the untitled comedy centers on Jim, played by Jon Cryer, and Julia, played by Abigail Spencer, who, after an amicable divorce, also a tough word to say, decide to continue to raise their 2 young kids at the family home while taking turns on who gets to stay with them. Navigating the waters of divorce and child sharing gets hilariously more complicated for Jim when the owner of his favorite sports team, played by Donald Faison, enters the picture and wins Julia's heart. Faison plays Trey, owner of the Boston Celtics, a proud MIT grad and Julia's new fiance. Spencer's Julia is the successful owner of her own crisis management firm. Cryer was previously cast as Jim, a good-natured, sarcastic, yet sincere corporate compliance officer. Wow, that's a lot in one character, who gets along famously with everyone, including Julia, with whom he shares a close bond, characterized by lots of laughter and warm feelings. So if you are a big fan of Jon Cryer and want to follow him after his time on Supergirl as Lex Luthor, it sounds like he's going to be in a new TV series. We don't know the title of it yet, so we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled on the news to see what is going to be happening. But it looks like it's going to be, at least the pilot is associated with NBC. So if it gets picked up for a series, it will be on NBC. So that's for all the Jon Cryer fans out there. Also, I just wanted to update everybody because I got an answer about something that we talked about in our Superman Celebration recap episode the previous week of Supergirl Radio. So I'd like to give everybody an update on a previously unidentified object in the Super Museum. I had no idea what it was. I had a lot of questions. It was a really strange object. But in our Superman Celebration 22 recap episode, there was kind of a weird and creepy mask on display in the Super Museum, and it was sort of near the Supergirl section, so I was trying to figure out what it was, and I contacted the Super Museum, and they were very kind to point me to a video on their YouTube channel that they had recorded that talked about it, and revealed that the object was a screen-used mask from the Smallville Season 9 episode Echo. So Lynn Workman was actually correct in his guess on that episode of Supergirl Radio that it actually involved Toyman. So it makes sense for me as to why I didn't know what it was, because I actually stopped watching Smallville at the end of season 8. So I wouldn't have any reference for something that happened in season 9. So I've seen season 9, but not since it was on. So I've forgotten most of it. Yeah, I think this was kind of it sort of seemed like it was kind of a throwaway object. Like it wasn't like a big focus to the camera. So I think it's kind of a something that you would have to be a really big fan of to catch this. So I didn't feel so bad after I learned that it was from season 9. I was like, okay, that makes me feel better that I'm not totally ignorant, but it was based out of me not seeing season 9. So I'm sure everyone who is a Smallville fan who has seen season 9 and loves season 9 was like yelling at me, like, of course that's what that was, Rebecca. But I had to learn. So thank you to the Super Museum for pointing that in my way so that I could know what that was, because it's actually a cool mask up close. A lot of detail. Looks like somebody really took the time to get into that. Let's see. I'm going to hop into the chat really quickly before we get into our crypto spotlight, because that's going to cover us on the news. New Rachel says, "Don't remind me about Future State Superwoman." Well, tough cookies, Rachel, because we're about to drop some Supergirl Radio episodes where we talk about Future State Superwoman. So that is coming. And they're actually some pretty good episodes, if I do say so myself. So you'll actually get to hear Morgan and me read through those 2 issues and dissect them and try to figure them out. So good stuff. It'll be on video on the DCTV Podcast YouTube channel. Will also appear in video form on the Facebook page, the Supergirl Radio Facebook page, but also, of course, in your audio podcast feed. So if you want to check it out there just within the audio version, you can do that as well. So that is coming your way soon. All right. Well, Jon, I think we need to talk about the dog of the hour, a Supergirl Radio character spotlight episode. If you've never heard us talk about our character spotlights, they always begin with the comic book version of the character. So we're going to start with that, some kind of general need to know information about Krypto and Krypto's first appearance, and then we're going to dive into more of the comics, and Jon's going to help us give some comic book recommendations featuring a Superdog and some things that we can, look forward to reading in the comics if we would like to continue on in our own personal study of Krypto the Superdog. So just to get us started here, Krypto the Superdog was created by Otto Bender and Kurt Swan. Supergirl fans should be familiar with the name Otto Bender. He is the co-creator of Supergirl. So he also created Krypto the Superdog. His first appearance was in Adventure Comics number 210 from March 1955. He is a Kryptonian canine, so he does come from Krypton. So that's usually associated with his origin story. I'm trying to think if there's another instance where he is not a Kryptonian dog. I think most of the time he is.
The original post-crisis take on Krypto was not a Kryptonian dog, but we can talk about that later.
Okay. Yes. Remind me when we get there so that we can bring that up, because most of the time he is a Kryptonian canine, but there are some instances in which he is not. There is a family tree though that is that has been given in the comics in Superboy number 126 from January 1966 in a story titled Krypto's Family Tree. Krypto's father's name was given as Zipto, his grandfather as Nipto, and his great-grandfather as Vipto. So if you needed to know Krypto the Superdog's family tree, that does exist in comic book form. So
because the Silver Age, everybody. It was the 60s.
Well, I'm glad to know the lineage of Krypto the Superdog. I personally think that's
it's good when your dog comes with a pedigree documented, for their,
I think that's very important, and I'm glad that we have that information. All right. So let's see. Let's get into some aliases. So Krypto does have a secret identity, much like Superboy Clark Kent, or Superman Clark Kent, however you want to put him wherever you put Krypto in Clark Kent's life at the time. Krypto usually does have a secret identity. When he's not Krypto the Superdog, he was the Kent family dog named Skip. And this is something that I recently learned because I read through the DC Comics Year by Year, a visual chronicle, which I highly recommend to any DC fans. A great book. But it talked about how Krypto acquired a cover for his secret identity by dyeing a patch of his all-white fur brown. To turn back, he could burn off the dye with his heat vision. Do you know about this, Jon? I had never heard about that before.
Yeah, so Clark has a dog that looks just like Krypto, and Superboy has a dog called Krypto. So, in the Silver Age, Clark would bend over backwards in every possible way to keep anyone from possibly linking the idea that Clark Kent could be Superboy. So, Krypto, who I should say didn't actually spend a whole lot of time on Earth. Often between adventures, he would just go off into space and romp around chasing asteroids and whatever. But when he would stay on Earth for a little while, yeah, they would paint a little patch of his fur brown, and then whenever he needed to, turn into Krypto and put on his cape collar, he would burn that patch of paint off of his fur. So it wasn't something they did a whole lot, but at least a good half dozen times you would see him do this.
Yeah, and Mara in the chat asks, does he wear little dog glasses? And I'm trying to remember if I have a comic book issue where he does. Let me see. Oh, yes. So actually, Mara, he does in some instances where he will have glasses. I think I just saw a clip from DC League of Super Pets that was posted to social media today where Krypto also had glasses on in that clip as well. So from what I saw from my research, and we'll talk about this group, the Space Canine Patrol agents that Krypto was a part of, he has worn eyeglasses there as well.
Yeah, this was the idea. They probably did it for 3 or 4 stories kind of close together where Krypto was part of this team of space dogs, and they were space dog police, and they would just fly around, and he was part of the team. So yeah, that was pretty great. I guess maybe the Legion of Super Pets was not enough of a full-time job. He had to moonlight.
Yes, he's been associated with several groups, so we'll definitely talk about that group. And I guess that's a good segue because that's what we're about to talk about. So, Krypto's been associated with Superman, if you want to call it Team Superman or the Superman family. He's been part of the Legion of Super Pets. He's also worked with the Justice League. And my favorite thing about Krypto is that he is associated with this group called the Space Canine Patrol Agents, and this is a group. If you were going to describe them, you could say that they are a group of fictional, anthropomorphic, extraterrestrial canine superheroes that appeared in stories published by DC Comics. And here are just a few of the members of of that group. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, John, I think they're sort of patterned off of. Well, I know the Legion of Super Pets is kind of patterned off the Legion of Superheroes, but isn't there? I'm trying to think of the like space police that the Legion of Superheroes
the science police.
The science police. That's what I think. That's kind of where my mind was associated. If the Legion of Super Pets are kind of like the Legion of Superheroes, I was just kind of like thinking that maybe the Space Canine Patrol Agents were sort of like the science police. But that's just where my mind went. Not that was said explicitly. I just kind of made that association. But here are some members of the Space Canine Patrol Agents if you want to learn that, because I think it's important because they will come up later when we talk about the Krypto the Superdog animated series. So some of the members are Tail Terrier, who has an elastic tail that can be used as a rope, and he is top dog of the Space Canine Patrol Agents. There's
Can we alternate on these? Because I love this.
Oh yes, I'll read one, then you get one, and then I'll go and we'll bounce off each other.
So Mammoth Mutt is next. He's Mammoth Mutt because he can inflate his size. He many times his size, but sadly he died in his first appearance.
That is really tragic. I feel like he could really come into an important. He could play an important role, and sadly,
he could grow into the role.
Yeah, he could grow into the role. Exactly. That's a great pun. Hot dog is kind of what you think a hot dog would be. He is a pyrokinetic, so he is a hot dog.
Then we have Tusky Husky. Tusky Husky can turn one of his canine teeth into a long tusk, which is then used as a lever. Of course, it would not be used as a stabby weapon because these are comics and superheroes don't kill.
Sure, of course, but it could be the tusk could come into play in important ways. We also have Bulldog, who can grow horns like a bull, of course.
Paw Pooch can grow additional limbs with little paws on them.
Chameleon Collie is a shapeshifter.
The prophetic pup, he's a clairvoyant.
That name says it all, I think. Having prophecy, clairvoyance and prophecy. Let's see, there's Mammoth Miss. That's very difficult to say. That's Mammoth Mutt's girlfriend. Oh, she must have been devastated when Mammoth Mutt died in his first appearance. So this is Mammoth Mutt's girlfriend with the same powers where you can inflate too many times the size. So I'm guessing that they killed off Mammoth Mutt, and they were like, but Mammoth Mutt is kind of a cool idea. So they created Mammoth Mutt's girlfriend, Mammoth Miss. That's my guess. I don't know if that's really.
I wonder if the space canines date people with their same powers on the regular, or if this is a particular exception. I don't know.
I don't know.
But then Beam Beagle, he possessed searchlight eyes. But sadly, much like Mammoth Mutt, we lost Beam Beagle when he died in the line of duty.
God, this is devastating for the people who are like, does the dog die? Yes, several times the dog dies in these stories.
Content warning, y'all.
Oh my gosh, devastating. Well, and then the last member of the Space Canine Patrol Agents is, of course, Krypto, who has similar powers to Superman. And a version of that team in the 2000s, Krypto the Superdog animated series, showed up on that series under the name Dog Star Patrol. So I guess they thought that the Space Canine Patrol Agent was kind of a long-winded name, and it is. I mean, that's
a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah. So they shrunk it down to the essence of the team, and they called this team the Dog Star Patrol. So if you're watching the video live stream, you'll see some of these characters. And so a lot of them are similar to what is in the comic book version of them. But there are a couple of new ones here. So sort of the leader of the bunch is Brainy Barker, who's voiced by Ellen Kennedy. She's a Saluki, I think is how you pronounce it, dog in appearance, although she refers to herself as an Afghan in the episode Meet the Dog Stars. She is the leader of the Dog Star Patrol. Brainy Barker possesses powers, allowing her to read minds, project force fields, and levitate objects. John, do you want to take the next one? I guess Mammoth Mutt, we're familiar with Mammoth.
Yeah, Mammoth Mutt is back again. You know, he may have died in one incarnation, but in the animated series, he's back, voiced by Kelly Sheridan. I'm sorry, he is not back. She is back. She's a Chihuahua with the ability to inflate her body to an enormous ball-shaped size. So I guess like a pufferfish kind of thing, allowing her to use her size to attack foes. She can also expand other parts of her body. If she's doing ball-shaped size, is that like Bouncing Boy, but as a dog?
Sort of sounds like it. I'm trying to think about some of the episodes that I watched in which that happened, but it was kind of like Bouncing Boy in that.
I'll be honest, I have not seen the Krypto cartoon. It is on the list in my Superman read through, but I have not gotten to it yet.
Well, we'll talk about it. It has a very catchy theme song that will get stuck in your head for like 2 weeks. So just warning on that. Also in the Dog Star Patrol, just like in the comics, Bulldog is there, voiced by Michael Dobson, a bulldog with stereotyped British gestures and 2 like horns that can be used for attacking foes and breaking objects.
Then Paw Pooch is voiced by Dale Wilson. He's a basset hound with the ability to grow and sprout multiple limbs, allowing him to dig and run quickly.
Very useful. There's Tail Terrier, voiced by Peter Calamus, a Scottish Terrier with the ability to stretch his tail and use it like a lasso. Also talks with an accent, with a Scottish accent. So you can only imagine how adorable that is.
Tusky Husky is back again, voiced by Terry Klassen, a Siberian Husky with a stereotypical accent, of course, and a giant front tooth, which he can use as a drill. You can see that tooth on the picture there.
Yeah, Tusky Husky, it sounds like a cool thing in theory, but it also just visually, I don't know how that works. Does Tusky Husky have a certain way of eating things? Does the big tusk get in the way? I don't know how that works. But that is definitely unusual for a dog. Then we have Hot Dog, just like in the comics, voiced by Trevor Duvall, a dachshund with the ability to generate tremendous heat and breathe fire.
And Drooly is a reserve member, voiced by Ty Olson. Drooly is an old English sheepdog who can use his drool as a weapon in various ways, such as grabbing objects, creating bubbles, and using those bubbles as projectiles. So he has prehensile drool. That's pretty great. He only appeared in the episode The New Recruit.
So Drooly is quite the drooler, as the name suggests. And in case anybody's interested, even Streaky the Super Cat becomes a member of the Dog Star Patrol after saving Krypto's life. So it's not just for dogs only. It's for dogs and their friends, their adjacent cat friends who do some good work. So Streaky can be a member of the Dog Star Patrol. All right, so let's talk about Krypto's superpowers. So this is something I also learned from DC Comics Year by Year, a visual chronicle that I did not know. I'd never thought about it before, but that book says Krypto's superpowers are similar to Superman's, but weaker, as they are proportionate to a dog's body. And as I read that, I thought, that's adorable. So I guess that makes sense. If he's a little smaller, he's not going to have as much power as maybe Superman would because he's in a smaller sized body. So I thought that was interesting. I never thought about that before. Krypto, of course, has super strength, super endurance, hearing, and longevity, super speed, solar energy absorption, superhuman stamina, agility, and reflexes, supervision, all of the supervisions, the heat vision, the electromagnetic spectrum vision, the microscopic vision, telescopic vision, X-ray vision, and infrared vision. He is also invulnerable. He can fly, and he occasionally does some super licking, as dogs would do.
You would expect that.
Yes, I would expect that. I like it when Krypto gets to be a dog. He's a superhero, but it's good to be reminded sometimes that he is in fact a dog. So that's a lot of fun. Well, I guess, John, this may be a good time to hop into Krypto's first appearance in the comics, which was in Adventure Comics number 210. This is a story titled The Super Dash Dog from Krypton. So I had some conflicts. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, John, because I didn't know how to title this episode of Supergirl Radio or write about Krypto, because sometimes the issue would say super dog, like super and dog smashed together as one word, and then sometimes it would be super dash dog. And so I was like, well, how do I write it out? I don't know.
It's a great question. Since it's not his name, you could probably do it either way. Like the Batman could be either the Batman or the Bat-Man, but if he's just Batman, then it's one word. So yeah. That's my take on it off the top of my head.
Yeah, I thought the issue, the first appearance, had super dog smushed up into one word, so that's why I went with that. But then the story title seems to be the Super Dash Dog. So I don't know. You could go with either way. They also do that with Streaky the Super Cat, where it's Streaky the Super Dash Cat or Streaky the Super Cat with one word. And I'm like, what? Somebody settle on something. Somebody just decide it and stick to it. But Adventure Comics number 210 is a story titled The Super Dog from Krypton. And this issue begins in Smallville, where we meet a white dog, a stray mutt. The issue says a stray mutt without a license who is caught by a dog catcher. But in the next moment, the dog busts through the wagon as if someone had dropped a boulder on the truck. And so you can imagine that caused a lot of chaos. Having observed this, a young Clark Kent changes into Superboy to investigate. The hole in the dog catcher's wagon lets all the dogs loose, so Superboy returns them, of course, as he would. Except the dog who caused all the trouble got away. Later on, while young Clark Kent works in his father's store, some criminals attempt a robbery. Normally, this would be easy for Superboy to take care of, but with so many people around, he can't change into his superhero persona. Thankfully, though, the white mutt who got away from the earlier trouble confronts the robbers, and their bullets bounce off of him. With everyone distracted, young Clark Kent helps Krypto, leading to the arrest of the bad guys. Clark finds the strange dog chewing on one of the crook's steel guns down like it was a tasty dog biscuit, just chewing it up like it was a biscuit. When he finishes eating his snack, the dog takes off with a lightning flash, and Superboy, curious about where he comes from, chases after him, having to fly as he does it because the dog takes off into the air. Once Superboy catches up with him, Superboy starts to realize that the Superdog has powers similar to his own. The dog uses his X-ray vision to spot a bone buried in the ground. Krypto displays super intelligence, for a dog at least, and guides Superboy to a rocket that recently crashed. Thankfully, Superboy finds a document written in the, quote, the language of Krypton, unquote, which explains that before Krypton blew up, scientists experimented with rockets, hoping to achieve a workable spaceship. And the issue says, quote, before daring to send up human pilots, of course, they used test animals in the untried rockets. So Krypto is kind of the test before any of the rockets from Krypton are deployed, as in the case of young Kal-El. Well, understanding that Krypton may blow up at any moment, this is a sort of a flashback to Jor-El. The issue says, quote, one particular scientist, unquote, revealed later to be Jor-El, Superboy's Kryptonian father, recognized the emergency and put a puppy he names Krypto in an experimental rocket that would never return. The issue suggests that a meteor bounced it deep into space, where it drifted aimlessly for years. During that time, the puppy grows into a super dog. That information that Superboy finds in the rocket leads him to the conclusion that because the record he found was written by his father, Krypto is actually the pet he had as a baby. So that's a pretty good assumption on the part of Superboy. He's connecting a lot of dots from these documents that he found. Having a super pet sounds like a lot of fun at first, but Superboy soon realizes that Krypto's friskiness, as the issue says, could cause harm. Krypto is stubborn and won't let go of part of a plane that Superboy needs to weld back together. To trick Krypto to let it go, Superboy uses super ventriloquism, which is one of my favorite superpowers, to mimic the sound of a cat's meow, which Krypto follows. This gives Superboy the chance he needs to weld the missing chunk of the plane, and the pilot is able to regain and maintain control of the aircraft. So having to to use super ventriloquism in that instance. Like any other boy taking care of his dog, Superboy and Krypto build a doghouse for Krypto using large stones. Superboy gives Krypto a bath with old barbed wire and molten lava. But like any other dog, Krypto wants to play. So he finds young Clark Kent at school and brings him a steel girder for a game of fetch into space. Meeting Krypto in space, though, Superboy catches the Superdog chasing meteors as if he's chasing cats. Even on Earth, Krypto chases cats through buildings, smashing through the bricks as if they are paper. So Krypto does cause a lot of damage in this issue. In an effort to train Krypto a little better, Superboy uses a loud supersonic whistle unheard by human ears that his Superdog can hear from any distance. When Krypto responds to the whistle, Superboy and Krypto go back to the bridge where Krypto got the steel girder, putting it back into place. So they're trying to correct some mistakes that Krypto has caused. Clark Kent also uses Krypto to trick Lana Lang from confirming his identity as Superboy. She's already a little aggressively suspicious about it. How could he be Superboy, though, if there's a caped figure flying in the sky while Clark is on the ground? Of course, that caped figure is Krypto. But Lana can't see that far away, so what does she know? She just sees a figure with a flying cape in the sky. So that's how Superboy is able to trick Lana about his secret identity. The next morning, though, Superboy discovers that Krypto has left his doghouse and using his telescopic vision sees that Krypto is in deep space. Superboy says that he's glad that Krypto is gone because he was such a big bother. And that's what the issue says. I thought Krypto was great, but Superboy thought he was a big bother. But that might not be the entire truth, because the issue ends with Superboy calling Krypto his pal and hoping that he'll come back once in a while to say hello. So that is the first appearance of Krypto the Superdog.
But that's one of the things that kids have to learn whenever they get their first pets, right? Like there's a lot of fun involved. There's also a lot of responsibility. And yes. I guess they could think it's a bother, but we still love our pets.
Yes, so Krypto gets into some shenanigans, causes a few problems, but he does help Superboy a little bit there in his first adventure. So it's good to see his first appearance and how he got to where he was. Well, Krypto's been around a long time, and since we have a limited amount of time in the podcasting space, we could do a whole podcast on Krypto the Superdog, actually. I mean, he needs his own podcast, I think. So we're not going to be able to cover every comic story he's featured in, but we have a few other stories that we're going to talk about, and one that Jon recommended to me was Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen number 29. So Jon, could you guide us through that story and help us understand what Krypto's role is in it?
Okay, so in Jimmy Olsen 29, it is now, the adult Superman's era, and Superman hasn't seen Krypto in a long time. So Jimmy Olsen is, hanging out being Jimmy Olsen. He needs Superman's help with a problem, and so he uses his signal watch, which, goes zee, zee, zee. And instead of Superman answering the call, though, it is Krypto the Superdog flying back from space. Now, the problem that Jimmy was calling Superman's help for is that a dog pound truck had just slid into the ditch on an unpaved side street. So it was stuck in the mud. So not really a super problem, but we're going to forgive Jimmy for a moment. Krypto comes down and Jimmy's like, okay, just push that truck out of the mud. And Krypto does. He pushes the truck out of the mud, but then he pushes right through the truck. And much like in his first appearance, this is a dog pound truck and the dogs start getting free. So Superman finally arrives at the response of the Signal Watch. I'm glad nobody's life was in danger. He's like, okay, so I'll get these dogs back in the truck, and we'll let the dog catcher take them off to where they takes the dogs. And oh, look, Superman's like, it's my dog Krypto. I figured he had just romped off into space to some other planet for 10 years. And so Jimmy and Krypto are happy to see Superman, but Superman notices that Krypto is actually kind of old. He's a bit scraggly around the edges. He's kind of jittery as he's standing. And he says, okay, well, you take care of him now, Jimmy. I've got things to do. So he's like, great, I'm going to take my super dog home and going to feed him a super meal, but then he forgets to do that. And he's like, okay, Krypto, you stay here. I'm going to go live my life and be Jimmy Olsen. So he's out there, and this big Superman statue starts to fall over. So Jimmy calls his Superman signal watch, and Krypto the Superdog responds again. But as he leaps into the air to right the Superman balloon, he goes through a billboard. He didn't get enough oomph to his flight into the sky. So he tears through this billboard. Superman has to come and repair the billboard. He's getting a little bit annoyed that he's having to, fix Krypto's super feats. And Jimmy and Krypto are walking around, and somebody pulls a gun on Jimmy. Escaping robbers, they're shooting at me. And Krypto stands up on his hind legs and blocks the bullets with his Krypto Superdog body. And Jimmy's like, great, now use the heat of your X-ray vision to melt their guns, Krypto. But he doesn't melt the guns. Instead, he melts a hydrant. And so the water goes and gets all over the robber's car, which floods their ignition so they can't get away. Superman arrives and fixes the hydrant. The police come and get the robbers. They go to a museum with dinosaurs, and Krypto hasn't had any food since I don't even know when he last ate, because he's been in space for 10 years.
Yeah.
So when he sees the dinosaurs, he's like, ooh, bones. I'm totally going to eat one of those. And he steals a Stegosaurus bone. So then Superman has to come and fix the Stegosaurus. And so finally the city officials come around to collect Krypto and put him on trial for being a menace to Metropolis. So Jimmy
is that legal? Can you do that? Can you put a dog on trial?
I don't know what kind of court they're summoning him to. Actually, Jimmy is the one who receives the summons, so he has to go defend his dog. Superman is like witness for the prosecution, because he's like, even though Krypto was once my pet, yeah, he's totally messing stuff up. And so Jimmy's like, no, Krypto's awesome. Remember all these wonderful things that Krypto did? And he gives us like a recap of some key events from Superboy stories of the past. And so Jimmy's like, he did all these wonderful things when he was young. Are we going to forget them just because he's old and past his prime? Are we going to, hate people just because they're old? And Superman's like, I'm going to take Krypto away. And so he scoops up Krypto. The judge rules that Superman must take care of the dog. And Jimmy's like, bye, Krypto, sob. And so he goes home where his little dog mat was, and his little because the dog mat has already been monogrammed with the name Krypto on it. And he's already bought a dog food bowl with the name Krypto on it. He's like, my wonderful pet's gone forever, flew into space with Superman. But Superman comes and is like, no, just kidding, Jimmy. I didn't take Krypto into space. Here, look at this special mirror I made, which will reflect my telescopic vision after it's beamed around the world. I'm not sure that makes sense, but basically he turns his mirror into a TV. Magical TV where Jimmy can see that Superman left Krypto in a valley surrounded by kryptonite hills.
On first hearing, that sounds like that would be a bad idea.
Yeah, like maybe a death sentence.
Maybe like a death sentence, yes.
Yeah. So no. However, the kryptonite rays have caused a weird chemical reaction with the water in the valley. And when Krypto starts drinking the water, it makes him young. Kryptonite water, y'all, is a fountain of youth. And it turns Krypto back into his, more virile Krypto life stage from whenever he was playing with Superboy. And he can't fly away because, kryptonite, but he does run away. He gets out of the Kryptonite mountains And while Superman and Jimmy are still talking, Krypto digs through the world because Superman does a supersonic whistle and tunnels through the planet and comes up at the sidewalk outside of Jimmy's apartment building. And Jimmy rides Krypto like a horse.
Just like one, yeah.
Into the sky as they play fetch with the steel girder, just like Superboy and Krypto did. And then at the end of the story, as he did years ago, Krypto left again for a super romp through the universe. And Superman's like, okay, if he returns, he's going to be your pet, Jimmy. And Jimmy's like, come back, Krypto, someday. Please come back, just like Frosty the Snowman.
Yeah, I like this story because I wasn't aware that Jimmy Olsen had a big connection with Krypto. So from my experience, Krypto has been largely associated with, of course, Superman and Superboy, and then Supergirl. But the Jimmy Olsen connection I did not know about. So I'm glad you brought this story to my attention.
It's pretty great. And I like the idea. You know, you mentioned longevity in his powers, because my first reaction whenever I read this story years ago was, it's been a really long time. You know, if Superboy had this dog when he was in his early to mid-teens, and now he's, you know, perpetually 29, dogs don't tend to live that long.
That's true.
But Krypto did.
Well,
lived
and
long
now,
enough to get rejuvenated.
Yes, and now with the kryptonite water, it's, you know, he could live probably forever, I guess, which seems backwards to me that should have killed him.
You would think drinking kryptonite water would have been poison.
Yes, I don't know exactly how that works, but the story really sells it, I think. And
I think I'm going to try it next time I find some kryptonite. I'm just going to put some kryptonite dust in some water. And...
So just know that kryptonite water does exist in Jimmy Olsen number 29. So that's what happens there. So that's a really cool story to see the connection with Jimmy Olsen. And Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, if people don't know, that was a very popular comic book series when it ran. It ran for a long time, introduced a lot of really important things in the DC Comics universe, like Darkseid. So that series was a big popular series at the time.
Jimmy got his own solo series before Lois did.
Yes. So, and both of those series, I'm guessing Jimmy's ran a little longer than Lois's, but both of those comic book series were very popular during the time. So it's good to see that Jimmy Olsen really thrived back then. And I think he probably should now, is my opinion. But yeah.
What happened with those is that the Jimmy Olsen book and the Lois Lane book and the Supergirl book were all folded into one large book, the Superman family. So, yes. And it kept the numbering of the Jimmy Olsen series, but really the Superman family became all three of those and more.
Yeah, the Superman family issues are something that I want to really dig into, because I've only read a small spattering of those. Les Lar has a good little run there in the Superman family, so I would like to read more of that. Rachel says in the comment, the live chat has a question: if Superman and Supergirl live longer and age slower than humans, why can't Krypto live longer than other dogs? I think that's a great question, and
it makes total sense. It's not one of those things that came to my mind immediately when I was reading the story, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. So good call and good thought. All right. So a couple of stories I wanted to bring to the table, because in my research, it sounded like Krypto was and correct me if I'm wrong, John, but Krypto is introduced into the comics. And then at some point he's sort of abandoned a little bit by some of the storytellers, and he's missing for a long time. Is that what you found?
Yeah, he's actually, whenever he's brought back in this Jimmy Olsen story, he still really hasn't become a super popular character yet. He's only appearing, you know, a couple or three times a year. But by the time you get to 1959, 1960, Krypto is showing up a lot, and he starts to peter out around 1968. And so when you get into the 1970s, you'll have an entire year or two go by without a Krypto story, and he becomes pretty rare. When I was reading through all of the Superman stories, I started to really miss Krypto, actually. And when you finally get to Superboy's second solo series, The New Adventures of Superboy, I was hoping for a lot more Krypto, but even then he only has a few handful of minor appearances. He does actually have a solo series in the Superman family for a little while, where he becomes like a stunt dog and gets a dog girlfriend and all sorts of stuff.
That sounds amazing. That's another incentive to get into the Superman family.
It's a good series.
Yeah. Well, after the 1971 revamp, you mentioned the 70s, after the 1971 revamp of Superman by editor Julius Schwartz, Krypto made no appearances for several years. The character returned suffering from amnesia in a 1974 two-part Green Arrow backup story in Action Comics number 440 and number 441. When asked in a 2006 interview why he, quote, liberated Krypto from the limbo kennel, unquote, writer Elliot S. Maggin said, and this is what his response was: a man needs a dog, a Superman needs a super dog. So that is why Krypto was reintroduced back into some of these stories. So I'm just going to run through Action Comics 440 and 441 really quickly so people have some context for those stories. So Action Comics number 440 features a story titled Little Dog Lost. And if that sounds somewhat familiar to Supergirl fans, to me that sounds a lot like the Superman the animated series episode Little Girl Lost that introduced Supergirl on that show. So this is a story called Little Dog Lost, and this is by a writer Elliot S. Maggin, who tells the tale of a Star City stray who dimly knows that he's looking for a flying man of some kind. He doesn't really know who this flying man is, but he knows he's looking for one. This white stray dog assists Green Arrow as he fights off some criminals smuggling scientific hardware into the country. So we are with this amnesiac stray dog who's looking for a flying man. Later in the story, the stray finds the Pretty Bird flower shop to bring Oliver Queen, who is Green Arrow, and Dinah Lance, who is Black Canary, one of the gadgets that were smuggled in. The device makes Dinah see monsters trying to hurt Oliver, so she lashes out at everyone in the room, believing Oliver and Krypto to be the monsters. The dog makes, quote, an astounding leap across the chaotic flower shop, unquote, to snag the device and stop Dinah from having the hallucination. Oliver notes that the dog moved as if he could fly. Dinah, who has taken to their new canine friend, names him Demian. Sort of looks like Damien, but it's with an E, Demian, maybe, because she has always liked that name. That's a name that she picked for this stray dog. So that ends Action Comics number 440. So I'm loving, actually, that Green Arrow and Black Canary got some Krypto time. So that makes me pretty happy.
And it's an Action Comics issue, but this was not the Superman story in the front of Action Comics. This was the Green Arrow backup. So when I read those, I was kind of intrigued by the idea of bringing Krypto back, not in a Superman story.
Yes, that is an interesting choice. But I for one, would love, and we'll talk about the second part of the story and sort of get to the conclusion of it. But just while we're here, I want a whole series, just Green Arrow, Black Canary, Krypto, solving crimes.
I need that a lot.
Why can't I have that story? I want that story. Please do more of this. So this was pretty great. So, all right, let's get into Action Comics number 441. In this second part of the two-parter, in a story titled The Mystery of the Wandering Dog. Did I say wandering? I meant wandering. He's wandering in this issue. Green Arrow and Black Canary are determined to find out more information about the hallucination gun that gave them issues in the previous issue in Action Comics number 440. Because they did have some chaotic times in that flower shop. When the two costume heroes, Green Arrow and Black Canary, go after a character named Professor Steelgraves, you know that's the bad guy because he's got a good bad guy name. He hits them with an aging ray that makes them old. Oh no, the Green Arrow and Black Canary have gotten old because of this aging
They need some
ray.
kryptonite water fast.
They do. If only they had access to kryptonite water, it would solve all their problems. But they don't have to be old for too long because the stray they named Demian crashes into the room and destroys the aging ray, which causes the process to reverse and correct them to their present ages. So Krypto, not using kryptonite water, but he does destroy the aging ray that fixes their problems. It isn't until the bad guy, though, Professor Steelgraves, who refers to Demian as a, quote, super dog, unquote, that Green Arrow and Black Canary finally put it together who their new sidekick truly is. But since he realizes that Green Arrow is not the flying man he's searching for, Krypto the Superdog takes off and continues his wandering. So that's how Krypto kind of comes back into stories after a long time of not being in them. And Green Arrow actually calls Clark Kent. Oliver calls Clark Kent to say, hey, by the way, I have some good news and some bad news. So he does let Clark Kent know that his Kryptonian dog is back, but he went away. And so that's kind of the bad news, is they don't know where he went, but they did spot him. Also, another story that I thought I would mention, just because I guess since it's come up, Krypto's had some, dog girlfriends occasionally. This is another story that features one of those such instances. So this is Superman number 287. In this, Krypto's memory was restored in 1975's Superman number 287, which is a story titled "Who Was the Dog I Saw You With Last Night?" written by Elliot S. Magan. And so this is talking about how Krypto's memory is restored here, because previously in Action Comics 441, he sort of had a recollection of a flying man, but in this issue, he kind of knows what's going on now. So this is a story, "Who Was That Dog I Saw You With Last Night?" Krypto is smitten by another white dog he passes on the street named Chelsea. Chelsea is an upper class dog, so hanging around Krypto for her would be considered by her dog walker, as the issue points out, to be, quote, consorting with a stray, unquote. So Krypto is kind of the down on his luck dog compared to Chelsea, who is upper class. While Krypto and his new lady canine friend Chelsea have a great day together, Lois Lane faints, causing Superman to take her to the hospital. Turns out some blue gas seeps up from the ground surrounding an art museum by the park. Krypto helps Superman save works of art from being stolen. And after stopping the bad guys, Superman becomes curious about that dog he saw with Krypto last night. So that gets to the title of the issue. Superman arranges a meeting with Chelsea's dog walker, and they draw up some pedigree papers. When Krypto and Chelsea reconnect, though, Chelsea is a little scared of Krypto because she's seen him do things that other dogs can't. So Chelsea and Krypto have a kind of a love connection, but Chelsea is not really up to being with the super dog because Krypto scares her a little bit. So not a permanent connection there, but Krypto does have lady canine friends every now and then. So that was a cute little story that I wanted to share. Did you have something you wanted to say, Jon?
The only thing about that I thought was interesting is that he gets his memory back, and of course this is trying to bring Krypto back. But there was a 6-month gap between the Green Arrow story and this story. So Elliot Magan, he's trying to bring Krypto back, but he's not getting to do it very quickly.
Yeah, so I guess sometimes those things take a little while when you have grand plans for Krypto the Superdog. Well, some other notable Krypto facts and stories about Superdog in the comics, just to point these out really quickly since we can't cover them all. Krypto, as Jon mentioned, had his own feature in the Superman family, number 182 to number 192. So that puts this in the 1977 and 1978 time frame, and it was written by Bob Toomey. In Alan Moore's Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, Krypto sacrificed his life to save Superman by biting the throat of the Kryptonite Man. The villain died, but Krypto was irradiated by him and died as well. So not a great ending for Krypto, but a heroic one.
This is kind of an end of Superman story. It was the last story about this version of Superman before the big, relaunch in 1986, 87. And so there were a lot of endings and deaths to a lot of characters, and that was Krypto's glorious, giving his life for his friend.
Yeah, if you're gonna kill the dog, if the dog is gonna die, at least make it a heroic death.
He really goes for that guy's throat too.
Yeah, well, dogs can be really protective. In one version of Krypto in the comics, he was depicted as a small white pet dog who was rescued and later named by Bibbo Bobowski. Did I say that right? I feel like I didn't say that.
Bibbo Bobowski.
Bobowski, yes.
He was a recurring character in the late 80s, early 90s of Superman.
Yeah, I normally just say Bibbo, so I know I don't get to say the Babowski part very much. I normally just call him Bibbo, so having to say both at the same time is actually hard to say. Originally, Bibbo had wanted to name the dog Krypton after Superman's home planet. However, the engraver of the dog tag, knowing that Bibbo had recently won the lottery, intentionally dropped the letter N, 6 letters or less for $1. So he was trying to extort more money from Bibbo, and an angry Bibbo refused to comply and renamed the dog Krypto because he didn't want to pay for that that extra letter in the name. So that's how Krypto gets his name in that story.
And that was the one I was talking about earlier. That was not an alien Kryptonian dog.
Yes. Okay. Yes. In the Batman story arc Hush, Krypto has taken a great liking to Catwoman, much to her immense displeasure. So he has an interaction with Catwoman in that story. The Super Sons annual of 2017, which we actually covered, Jon and I covered in the Streaky the Super Cat character spotlight, explores Krypto's friendship with various super animals such as Bat Cow, Titus. I can't remember Titus. I'm trying to remember who Titus is now that I'm thinking about Titus. I'm trying to think. Titus. What super animal is Titus in DC Comics? I wrote this down and then I couldn't remember who this is.
Was it Batman's dog?
No, that's
Robin's dog.
That's Ace the Bat Hound. Let's see. Hold on.
I don't know if this version was named Ace. It might have been. I'm looking at the cover and I see a black dog.
Yes. Okay. So Titus, Bruce Wayne adopted Titus as a present for Damian, whom he was having difficulty bonding with. So yes, you are correct. So Titus is Ace the Bat Hound in this version. So Krypto had a friendship with Titus, Bat Cow, Streaky, and Detective Chimp in that. So if you want to learn more about that story, which I highly recommend, check out our character spotlight on Streaky the Super Cat. There's a lot of animals emoting in that issue. It's it doesn't have a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of just animals being animals. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, so that's gonna wrap up our time in the comics. And so Krypto's been in various media portrayals, so we'll try to get to as many as we can. So the first one is The Adventures of Superboy, which is a series, a television animated series that I had actually not seen. I don't think. Maybe I'd seen like a clip or two, but I tried to find some. It's very difficult to track down. I think it used to be on Boomerang, but I could not find a way to watch it other than some clips on YouTube.
I believe that they're on, I could be wrong, I believe they're on the DVD of The Adventures of Superman, because it was a half-hour show with 2 Superman segments, or 2 halves of a Superman episode with a Superboy segment in the middle.
Oh, that's good to know. That's a good tip for the DVDs. I'll have to check that out because The Adventures of Superboy, as Jon said, is a series of 6-minute animated Superboy cartoons produced by Filmation that were broadcast on CBS between 1966 and 1969. In this series, Krypto aids Superboy in his adventures and missions. For example, in one of these issues in the 2-parter, The Spy from Outer Space, Superboy and Krypto track the spy from outer space. Krypto remains unaffected by their planet, but Superboy is weakened. So to free Superboy from the red sun-covered dome he is imprisoned in, Krypto has to dump something on top of it to block out the red sun. So thanks to Superboy and Krypto, they ultimately stop an alien invasion. Some other Krypto-centric episodes of this series that I couldn't track down, like I said, but I did find some descriptions. So I'll just kind of run through some of these episode descriptions that I thought were great. So there's one called Krypto's Calamitous Capers. A criminal scientist has created a sonic beam transmitter with which he can cause Krypto to turn belligerent. That was the description. I really want to see belligerent Krypto. There's another episode that's called Krypto Super Seeing Eye Dog. And the description for that is when a Kryptonian space probe is found, it contains weapons, one of which actually accidentally blinds Superboy. So I guess Krypto does literally become a seeing eye dog in that one. There's another episode called Krypto Canine Detective, in which dog thieves are on the rampage until Krypto, posing as an innocent dog, is captured. And then there's also Forget Me Not Superdog. And the description for that is breaking up a meteor shower. Superboy and Krypto are struck by a kryptonite meteor, which gives Krypto amnesia. So,
and even when the episodes don't focus on Krypto, he's basically there with Superboy for all of the stories. They're kind of inseparable. He's in the cartoon a lot more than he was in the comics during that time.
It's actually the episodes that I could find of them on the interwebs. I actually enjoyed watching it. It was a cute little show, and it actually, I thought, did a pretty good job representing these characters from the comics and sort of, portraying them as they would have been in the comics at that time. So I thought it was a pretty cute little show. So I'm glad to know that maybe they're on the Adventures of Superman DVDs. I'll have to go check those out.
I know I've seen them because I remember enjoying the Superboy segments more than the Superman segments a lot of times.
Well, that is a good tip. Well, this is the start of Krypto's time in animation, which he will thrive in for many, many decades. So the next time that we'll see Krypto in animation is in the Batman the Animated Series episode Deep Freeze. Krypto is one of the robotic toys on display in Carl Rossum's house. Carl Rossum or Rossum, Batman and Robin consult Carl about a robot that kidnaps Mr. Freeze, but Carl explains that the only robots he makes these days are his quote, little friends, unquote, to keep him company. In addition to Krypto being depicted, the other notable robot friends of Carl's are Batmite, Mr. Mxyzptlk, and Streaky the Super Cat. So Krypto doesn't really do anything in Batman the Animated Series, but he is visually depicted there along with Streaky and some other notable DC Comics characters. But he will also appear on Superman, the animated series. So not just on Batman, the animated series. He does make an appearance in the episode The Last Son of Krypton Part 1. He's seen as a puppy on Krypton, but he is not given a name. In the episode Bizarro's World, Bizarro enters the Fortress of Solitude and releases a number of alien animals kept there, including a violent reptilian creature, which Bizarro considers to be his Krypto, or Bizarro Krypto, and both become fond of each other. So I love this depiction of Krypto in Superman, the animated series, because he's a little puppy and it's adorable. And I wish there were more puppy adventures with Krypto.
It's like that original first comics appearance. Superboy had a dog back on Krypton, which he doesn't remember in that story, but he does remember later because Superboy has perfect memory. So he will remember his, playing with Krypto. It's just in the animated series, he didn't make it to Earth. Right.
Yeah. So I for one would like more puppy Krypto stories. That's what I'm into. So so if anybody's listening at DC Comics, puppy Krypto, write it up. All right. So the next time we'll see Krypto in animation, he is in Justice League Unlimited in the episode For the Man Who Has Everything. He is seen in Superman's dream as a pet of imagined son Van-El. So Superman's been taken over by the Black Mercy, and he's experiencing this dream that he is back on Krypton. So because the dream is set on Krypton, Krypto is depicted as having no powers or costumes, so he's not a super dog here, but otherwise he looks pretty similar to most versions of the character. He is a white dog with a collar, even though he doesn't have the red cape. You can still know that he is Krypto.
I just covered this, the comic version of this story, the original version of this story, in my Superman in Crisis podcast. It's a pretty powerful story.
Yeah, definitely check out Jon's podcast, plug. And also, the Justice League Unlimited episode is great. The comic is great. Even the Supergirl episode from season 1, where it is called For the Girl Who Has Everything, is also great. It's a good way to explore the Krypton experience for Superman and Supergirl. So I love all of those iterations of the story. So definitely check those out. Well, the next time that Krypto is in animation, he gets his own show. So he gets an entire show dedicated to him called, of course, Krypto the Superdog. Krypto here is voiced by Samuel Vincent, because Krypto does talk in this series. The series sees him a team with fellow animal superheroes, Streaky the Super Cat, the Dog Star Patrol that we talked about that I love so much, and Ace the Bad Hound, and goes up against the evil Mechanicat, and even has to deal with dog-related problems like a super flea. Dogs have to deal with fleas all the time. This one is a super flea, and he's pretty rough. This version of Krypto shares the origin of the original comic book version of Krypto, having been launched by Jor-El from Krypton when he was just a puppy, but he did not arrive until after Superman was already grown up. Krypto becomes friends with a young boy named Kevin, and they work to reunite Krypto with Superman. Since Superman is gone a lot, he has to go around the world saving people and doing things. So Superman suggests to Kevin that he's going to need some help looking after Krypto. So he says, hey, Kevin, could you, take care of my dog for me? So Krypto lives with Kevin, and he can also talk to Kevin. So it's very fortunate for Kevin that he can talk to his dog and can communicate in English with his dog Krypto. And they do this through the use of an ear implanted translator. So Kevin has to have this on him so that he can actually have something, the dog talk translated into English for him. And on this show, Kevin and Krypto live next door to Streaky the Super Cat. So Streaky lives next door with his friend Andrea. Don't call her Andrea or Andrea. She is Andrea. She makes that very clear. So Krypto has adventures with Streaky and Ace and the Dog Star Patrol, and it's really cute. It's a good show. It's good for kids. I enjoy it. It does have a very catchy theme song. If you watch the opening titles and you don't come away with it that his name is Krypto, I don't know what you've been watching, because the theme song makes it very clear that his name is Krypto. So you should know that by the end of those opening titles. So very catchy theme song. So just a word of warning, when you watch that series, it's going to get stuck in your head. But I think it's a really good depiction of Krypto. He's really cute in it. And it's fun to meet all of his little super pet friends. So I highly recommend Krypto the Superdog, the animated series. All right, so the next time we see Krypto, he's actually in live action, but he's not Krypto per se. This is Smallville in the episode titled Krypto. Although in this version, Krypto's powers seem to be limited to strength, developed as a product of experiments with kryptonite at Luthor Corp. These are also temporary. The dog is found by a teenage Lois Lane and brought to the Kent farm. In the final scene, when the Kent family and Lois are deciding on a name, Lois drapes a red towel around the dog after giving it a bath, which mimics a cape. Clark considers naming him Krypto, and when Lex asks the meaning behind the name, Clark says that it's because of his cryptic origins. Lois, though, dislikes the name, telling him that you can call your next dog Krypto. So I guess the idea on Smallville was that the Kent family would have this dog Shelby that they call the dog Shelby, and then when Clark becomes Superman, maybe the next dog he has would be Krypto. So that actually makes sense. He eventually does name the dog Shelby, though, as I mentioned, after one of Martha Kent's old dogs. And Clark feels that it was a better name over Lois's choice, which was Clarky. So the dog almost got named Clarky, but they settled on Shelby instead. So I think the dog on Smallville is really cute. And although it's not depicted as Krypto normally is, because this isn't really Krypto. This is a somewhat superpowered dog and a Kent family dog that hangs out with a teenage version of Clark Kent, but this is not actually technically Krypto. So there's actually no need for the Krypto, the dog here, to be a white dog like he is in the comics.
He was named Rusty in the comics, the version of Superman who didn't go up with the Krypto. So especially with the coloring, I'm surprised they didn't pull the name Rusty.
Oh, that actually would be a good thing there. But yeah, so they went with Shelby here. All right, so we're going to go back to animation with the Legion of Superheroes animated television show, which I highly recommend to people. It's a great depiction of the Legion of Superheroes. So on that show, a dog nearly identical in appearance to Krypto appears in the episode Message in a Bottle in the shrunken city of Kandor. This dog licks Superman's head to wake him up after he's been knocked out by Imperiex. When Brainiac 5 turns Kandor's sun from red to yellow, energizing the city's Krypton-descended inhabitants, this dog also receives superpowers. So there's a little bit of Krypto the Superdog there, and he looks like Krypto. He's a white dog, and he's got a collar around his neck. And he has superpowers there. So good depiction there. Also, Krypto goes back to a Batman animated series because Batman has lots of animated series. So you're probably going to end up with Krypto on one of them. So he does appear in the Batman the Brave and the Bold episode, Battle of the Superheroes! Exclamation point.
One of the best episodes of the series.
It actually is pretty great. And I should probably say Battle of the Superheroes because there's an exclamation point. And in this episode, when Superman is turned evil by the red kryptonite necklace that was unknowingly given to Lois Lane by Lex Luthor, Krypto teams up with Batman to hold off Superman until the effects of the red kryptonite have worn off. And at one point, which I thought was hilarious, Superman, he's so evil, he declares himself King Superman and throws Krypto into space. Krypto then re-enters the Earth's atmosphere in a fireball and knocks Superman into City Hall. It's a great moment for Krypto the Superdog. And a very heroic moment, aside from fighting Superman, he does rescue Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen because they've fallen down this big hole in the street. So he actually does get to rescue people. So this is a great episode for Krypto the Superdog. And just like John said, a great episode of animated DC stuff in general. And Batman the Brave and the Bold is actually a good series. I have some issues with the way they depict the birds of prey. But on the whole, the series is pretty great, and it's a lot of fun. And if people don't know, The Brave and the Bold was a team up comic series in the comics. It was a chance for characters to get together. And I recently learned it did not start off as Batman the Brave and the Bold. It actually just started as The Brave and the Bold, and then Batman just kind of took it over. So
it predates Marvel Team Up, but Marvel Team Up for Spider-Man and DC Comics Presents for Superman. The Brave and the Bold was that for Batman. And yeah, he was not the only one who did Team Ups, but he pretty much became the main guy for a while.
Yeah, so in that series, which I recommend as a comic series too, if you want to read the comic version of it, Batman will team up with Superman, or he'll team up with Aquaman, or he'll team up with Green Arrow. So it's a lot of fun to get to see Batman hang out with these other characters. So I definitely recommend it. And it looks like new Rachel even says that's my favorite episode. Yeah, it's a good one. So if you want to watch Batman the Brave and the Bold, check that one out. You can watch it on Supergirl Radio's favorite HBO Max. So it's easily accessible.
You want me to do the Young Justice one? You've been going for a while.
Yeah, go for it.
So the Young Justice series, which of course has just reached the end of its 4th season on HBO Max. Early in the series' run, they had the episode Alpha Male, where Superboy, and this is the Connor Kent version of Superboy, the clone of Superman and a mysterious second figure.
Yes,
Superboy,
correct.
He adopts a genetically altered white Indian wolf. Kid Flash suggests they name the animal Krypto, but Miss Martian says that name is already taken. So Superboy decides to name him Wolf instead, and because Superboy himself is a bit of a lone wolf in that story.
Nice.
And in later episodes, Wolf is shown to have many similarities to Krypto, such as his partnership with Superboy and some super abilities like super strength and enhanced durability. And he even experiments some with Cobra Venom and ends up with a Cobra Venom enhancement. And this more wolf-like version of Krypto was also emulated in the post-Flashpoint Superboy series. He got a sort of alien dog Krypto, but it was more wolf-like in its features, not puppy.
Yeah, I like this version of a Krypto because it's very unusual, and I like that this wolf character sort of stays with Superboy and Miss Martian for a long time throughout the series. So I think that's really cool that he becomes a character of his own. He's not just like a pet of theirs. He becomes a recurring character there. So not quite Krypto. It sounds like there's another Krypto in the Young Justice universe, but I thought we would mention that here. Since
he's a Krypto analog.
He's a version of what could be Krypto for Superboy here. So that's a unique version. Well, let's get into some DC Nation shorts because these are adorable. Krypto appears in the DC Super Pet series of shorts in DC Nation shorts, voiced by David Kay, where you can see him competing against Streaky the Super Cat to do super feats. He's also seen freaking out over a squirrel. Actually, the squirrel Green Lantern, who is, I think, pronounced Badge. So as a dog, he's trying to hold it together when Badge is near him, even though he wants to chase the squirrel. So he's freaking out a little bit. And he also is shown hearing some fascinating origin stories of potential Cal inductees into these super pets. I highly recommend these DC Nation shorts. I believe that you can find them on YouTube. I've linked everything that we're talking about for anyone who's interested in learning more. I have all the links to everything in the video description of the live stream, and we'll have them in the audio podcast show notes so that you can watch these things for yourself and check them out. But the DC Nation shorts are, as you would imagine, they're short little animated episodes that you can consume in just a couple of minutes, and they're great. They actually are using the Art Balthazar comic art style. So if you've seen any of the Super Pets books, the DC Super Pets books, this is that art style they are utilizing here for DC Nation shorts. And I just think they're so cute.
They also did the Superman Family Adventures, which was absolutely adorable and also had Krypto in it.
Yes. So definitely check those out. Those are a lot of fun and don't take a lot of time to watch. They're very short as per the name. Let's get into Justice League Action, which is also another animated series. Krypto appears here, first seen in episode Best Day Ever, in which Superman refers to Krypto as his security system and the Fortress of Solitude. He also later appears in an episode titled Unleashed, where he is seen thwarting Dexter of the Red Lantern Corps with help from Streaky the Super Cat. And I believe we also talked about that in the Streaky the Super Cat character spotlight as well. So lots of Super Pet action there.
I can do Titans.
Yes. Are you familiar, John, with the Titans version of Krypto? Yes.
So the second season of Titans is my favorite because it brings in Superboy and it brings in Krypto. So Krypto appears in Titans. Of course, much like with small children, you can't have a single actor for a live action Krypto. So Krypto is portrayed by multiple dog actors, Wrigley, Digby, and Lacey, who I'm sure had all equal pay levels. And
I'm sure they would have to.
Right.
Yeah.
So Krypto first appears in the second season and is depicted as a golden retriever. He's a captive test subject for Cadmus Laboratories, a nefarious organization that all of the post-crisis versions of Superboy have had connections with as well.
Right.
And they find him stuck in a kryptonite-powered cage. But of course, Connor, who becomes Superboy, rescues him, and Krypto accompanies Connor and joins the Titans. Wrigley, Digby, and Lacey were the different dog actors, and each had their different skills and personalities. So since trainers cannot be on camera with the dogs, Superboy actor Joshua Orpin had to become a pseudo dog trainer himself. To work with the different dog actors. And I'm guessing since they had their different personalities, they wanted to do different kinds of scenes or different kinds of stunts, they would have different dog actors who could specialize.
Yes, I imagine so. And I love this version of Krypto. This is one of those things where I imagine some people, when they make live action DC stuff, they probably would be like, oh, you can't do Krypto the Superdog. It's just not possible. It would look goofy. It would look stupid. But Titans, I think, really pulls this off. And Krypto in this series, he's got heat vision. He flies. He busts through walls. And he has superpowers. And so to me, that's awesome. He looks like Krypto. And it's just awesome to me that he is actually Krypto the Superdog, as Krypto the Superdog should be portrayed. And they were able to do it in live action. He's been in animated stuff for so long, but they actually pulled it off.
I thought it was great. That the first season of that show got a lot of flack, but that second season made me so happy. And yeah, Krypto was great in that.
Yeah, and he's paired up with Connor, who is Superboy. So I think it's cool that he has connection with another Superboy, not necessarily just Clark Kent, but with Connor here as well. Well, let's talk about DC Superhero Girls. So Krypto appears in both iterations of DC Superhero Girls. He is the pet of Kara Danvers and has powers similar to hers, and they team up with a Batgirl and Ace the Bat Hound occasionally. And in one instance, they catch a cat burglar and save the Metropolis Kennel Club dog show. So really cute depictions here in both iterations, because DC Superhero Girls sort of revamped itself with the art style. So Krypto and Kara do have a relationship. He is basically her dog on that show, and so it's good to see that in both versions of DC Superhero Girls, Kara and Krypto have a dynamic there.
Then we have Superman, Batman, Apocalypse, which is adapted from a comic series. I think the second arc of the Superman, Batman team up book.
I believe that's right. Volume 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So Krypto appears in that film where he reacts violently to the sudden appearance of Kara Zor-El in the Fortress of Solitude. Why is this strange young woman in my house? I don't know.
I mean, he was mean.
Yes. But before he can do any real damage to her, Superman stops him, tells him to let her be. And, Krypto's a good dog, so he listens. Batman is also present. And Batman agrees with Krypto. He takes Krypto's side in all this and tells Superman that he trusts the dog instincts and does not trust this alien young woman. This is, of course, in the comics, this was the revival of the original version of Kara as opposed to the Matrix version that they'd had for so many years.
Yeah, so Krypto takes a little while to warm up to this new Kryptonian that they have found in Superman, Batman, Apocalypse. So usually Kara and Krypto get along, but in this one, he doesn't like her at first. So it's a little upsetting as, as a Supergirl fan to see Krypto not happy with her. Yeah, go ahead, John.
I was gonna say this next one might be the only time Krypto has appeared in the theaters, because Teen Titans Go to the Movies was a theatrical release.
That's true.
And he was there were so many mentions and nods and references to so many elements of comics, and Krypto was one of the many superheroes who got cameo appearances, and in that universe has their own movie.
Yes, Teen Titans Go to the Movies is great. If you're a DC fan, you should check it out. It has a lot of nods to different elements of the DC universe, and the premise of the story is kind of hilarious too. It's Robin wanting his own movie. He's never had his own movie, and he really wants his own movie. And there's a twist at the end that I won't ruin for anyone. But Robin is trying to get there on the big screen. He wants his own movie, not just with the Teen Titans, but a Robin film, which, I can't disagree with. I think maybe Robin should have his own movie. But that is a cute movie and a really great animated film too, just from a film perspective. It's really great. And so Krypto is there in the audience when they kind of show all the characters who maybe either had their own movies or should have their own movies as well. So I think that's really fun to watch. So definitely check that out. Well, Krypto has also appeared in numerous video games that are DC Comics related. He's been in DC Universe Online, where he helps the players on either campaign fight Brainiac's forces when they invade the Fortress of Solitude. He was mentioned in Lego Batman 2 DC Superheroes, but he actually appears as an unlockable playable character in Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham. He also was in Infinite Crisis, where he appears as a purchasable playable character, voiced by Frederick Theodore Posenor III, which is a fantastic name. Great name. Krypto also appears as an unlockable playable character in Lego DC Supervillains, and he's actually kind of adorable in that one. I love that version of Krypto in Supervillains there. And Krypto was also originally set to appear as a playable character in Injustice 2, but was cut from the game for unknown reasons. So although he did not appear in the storyline, Krypto is mentioned in a pre-battle dialogue with Bizarro and Darkseid. And on the internet, you can find the concept art of what Krypto would have looked like if he had appeared in Injustice 2. I think Krypto should be part of Injustice 2, because Injustice 2 is when Supergirl is trying to help bring Superman back from the brink after he goes evil and rogue. So I think Krypto should play a part in that. John, do you want to talk about DC League of Super Pets?
Yeah, we've got Krypto the Superdog is going to be making his big screen feature film debut. So despite the cameo in Teen Titans Go to the Movies, this is Krypto's first actual film. Maybe this is the one that he was in Teen Titans Go.
Oh, yeah, maybe. Could be. Meta.
The DC League of Super Pets, he'll be voiced by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who is fantastic and is not only doing this DC film, of course, he's also got Black Adam coming out. But to promote the film, DC Kids has been releasing a series of stop motion animation videos titled DC Toy Boy Adventures that feature Krypto and the DC League of Super Pets. So this, sort of the inspiration for this episode. Really looking forward to seeing this film. The trailers feel like they've got the right vibe, comedy, fun, Krypto being a super dog. Bring it on.
Yeah, the animated film looks great. I will be a little ragey if there is no Streaky the Super Cat. I'm hoping that Streaky will make some kind of appearance. They probably won't do Comet because Comet gets no love, and that makes me very sad. But I hope at some point maybe Streaky will make an appearance. But they do have the comedy aspect of the Super Pets down, and I think it's a good way to have an animated film geared towards children because everybody loves pets and animals, and I think that's a good way to utilize the Super Pets is in big screen animation. And the DC Toy Box Adventures, I think is actually really smart. It probably took them a long time to create these stop motion animated episodes, but it seems like a good way to cross promote the toys that are coming out in association with the film. So that's actually a pretty smart strategery in the marketing team to help them sell the toys in association with that, because I may buy some of these toys myself because the Krypto is really cute. So you can watch those now on the DC Kids YouTube channel. They only have 2 episodes out so far, but I imagine maybe they'll come out with some more as the film gets going underway, as they start promoting the film coming out soon. So, John, if you have some time, I have some snap judgments for us to make.
Oh, yes.
So if you would like to do that, we will play a game of snap judgments. In the game of snap judgments, each person is presented with 2 options, but must only choose one. First instincts are recommended and explanations are unnecessary. Okay, so the first snap judgment. Which non-Krypto do you prefer? Shelby on Smallville or Wolf on Young Justice?
Me personally, I'm going to go with Wolf every day and twice on Sunday.
All right. That is a good choice. Ooh, this one is tough. I think because I think the Shelby dog is really cute. I think just from physical appearance, I think I would probably pick Shelby on Smallville. And that's the only reason, just because I think the dog is cute. No explanation other than that. All right. So who would win in a super dog fight? If we were pitting Krypto and Ace the Bat Hound against each other, who would win that fight? Who would you pick?
I think they would be friends. But if they had to fight, Krypto has superpowers and Ace is a dog with a mask. So Krypto would be able to win. Although Ace might have lots of time to plan his revenge. While he's planning, Krypto would knock him into the sun.
That is a good scenario. I think Ace the Bat Hound is very clever and does have some gadgets on him, but I think Krypto takes him. I think he would just fly around him a couple of times, and Ace would be just down for the count. I don't think it's any competition. I think Krypto's got this one. All right, so the next one and the final snap judgment, and this is the most important of the snap judgments, I think. So that really think about your answer for this one. So which is the better team name? Space Canine. I'm already screwing it up. Which is the better team name? Space Canine Patrol Agents or Dog Star Patrol?
Space Canine Patrol Agents definitely has its charm as a 60s comic book concept, but and so I feel like it's the better name, but Dog Star Patrol is a lot more catchy.
Yeah, I think for me, Dog Star Patrol is easier to remember. I think from a just like a branding perspective, Dog Star Patrol is easy to remember. It's easier to say. But I like Space Canine Patrol Agents. I think that's really cute. But I'm gonna go Dog Star Patrol on this.
And are they playing on the SPCA? Is that like the Space Canine Patrol Agents? I think they're doing a riff on that organization's acronym.
I think so. I think that's what it's alluding to. So I think there's some really interesting bits behind the name, but I think Space Canine Patrol Agents it's too wordy for me. So if I had to pick one, I think I'm going Dog Star Patrol on that one. Well, thank you, Jon, for playing some Snap Judgments with me, and we'll wrap that up. No judgments on your Snap Judgments. Well, Jon, thank you so much for stepping in and talking about another Serpet with me and being so game to talk about all of this stuff. And I learned quite a bit from you sharing your knowledge. And so thank you for being with me here on Supergirl Radio. How can our listeners and viewers, now that we do have cameras and we're live on YouTube and Facebook, how can our viewers and listeners find you on the internet?
So I have a website, jonreadscomics.com, and my Twitter handle is @JonReadsComics. I've been podcasting for over 10 years now. I have various projects that I've done that are all on that website. But my current project, I have read every Superman story from the beginning all in the way through the 80s and into the early 90s. And when I got to Crisis on Infinite Earths, I decided to make a podcast out of it. So right now, weekly, there is a series called Superman in Crisis, where I'm covering every issue of Crisis on Infinite Earths and every Superman-related comic story that came out during that same time. So sort of documenting the end of one version of Superman's history through 1985 and the first half of 1986. The latest episode, as this is going out, talked about Superman Annual 11 for the Man Who Has Everything. And we'll be talking about the very Supergirl-centric issue of Crisis. The first Monday in July, because that will be the anniversary of whenever that issue hit stands in July of 1985.
Yeah, Crisis on Infinite Earths, a very important part of Supergirl's history. So I think what you do is really cool because you've read so many Superman stories, which would also involve Supergirl. So anytime I have a question about the Superman family, I always hit Jon up because I know he's probably got the answer for that. So I think your reading project is so cool. And I thank you for your service and your ability to share that information and that knowledge that you've accumulated over the years. And Jon is also an excellent podcaster, as you probably heard on this episode. So I think very highly of Jon's work in the podcasting space. So definitely go check his work out if you haven't already listened, and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. All right. Well, before we get into our DCTV podcast and Supergirl Radio plugs, I would like to plug the podcast hosting platform that Supergirl Radio has been using since 2015 and share a little information about an opportunity that's being offered until June 30th. So as this episode drops, you don't have very long. So if you want to be part of this offer, you got to get on it. So here is an offer about the podcast hosting platform, Libsyn. If you're looking to start a podcast, use Supergirl Radio's unique promo code SUPER to get up to 2 months of free podcasting service with Libsyn when you sign up for a new account. Get your show on Apple and Spotify, get helpful audience building stats, and all the support you need to sound your best. And hey, they can even do video. Bring your podcast to life and have your voice heard with Libsyn. Click on the link in the live stream video description or our audio podcast show notes. Supergirl Radio has actually had a couple of our listeners become podcasters, so that's really fun to think about. So people have been using their voice through different mediums, and especially podcasting. So that's really cool. Well, now I think it's time to get to some Supergirl Radio and some DC TV podcast plugs. If you would like to contact Supergirl Radio, you can post a comment on our website at supergirlradio.com. You can email us at supergirlradio@gmail.com. If you'd like to leave us a voicemail, you can call us at 678-718-7252. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter and Instagram, all at Supergirl Radio. You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Podchaser, and Spotify, where we also have a Spotify playlist that includes music featured on and inspired by the CW's Supergirl TV series. We are listed on DC's fan page, which you can find at dccomics.com/DC-fans. If you like what we do, we encourage you to give us a rating and write us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you enjoy our Supergirl Radio live streams, make sure to subscribe to the DC TV Podcast YouTube channel and hit that notification bell to get notified when we go live and wired. DC TV Podcast also has a TeePublic store, so if you're in need of new DC TV related t-shirts, tank tops, sweatshirts, onesies, mugs, notebooks, pillows, or stickers, go to supergirlradio.com and click on the TeePublic store link at the top of the page.
Supergirl Radio, Superman and Lois Radio, The Flash Podcast, and Legends of Tomorrow Podcast, Black Lightning Podcast, Batwoman Podcast 2, and Titans and Doom Patrol Podcast just for you. Justice League Dark Podcast, Green Lantern Podcast, Stargirl Podcast, Strange Adventures Podcast, and finally my favorite of the bunch, DC TV After Dark, where you're allowed to say f***.
And speaking of the DC TV Podcast TeePublic store, since we talked about Krypto the Superdog in this week's episode of Supergirl Radio, we have some Superdog designs in the DC TV Podcast TeePublic store. So if you're interested in t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, stickers, that kind of thing, we have some Superdog designs that we have added to the TeePublic store. So definitely check that out. And we would like to thank our Supergirl Radio Patreon supporters for supporting the Supergirl Radio Patreon. These people are Michael, Sam, Anne Marie, Yvonne, Quinn, Nicola, Leslie, Abby, Irmgard, Miriam, Nicole, Lizeth, Faith, Brian, Ethan, and Danny. If you would like to be a part of the Supergirl Radio Patreon, you just go to patreon.com/Supergirl Radio. And we have 4 monthly levels there for you to choose from. So we appreciate you supporting the Supergirl Radio Patreon and helping us with our podcast hosting fees through Libsyn, like we talked about, and also providing ways that we can do fun things and give back to our Supergirl Radio community and do cool things like purchasing the Supergirl Radio brick at the Super Museum and helping to support the museum and all the things that they do with their mission in Metropolis, Illinois. Well, if you want to keep up with me, you can do that a couple of ways. You can find me on Instagram at The Derby Kid, and I have a YouTube channel as well, a personal YouTube channel, in addition to the DC TV Podcast YouTube channel that I stream to every week with Supergirl Radio. You can also find me at youtube.com/duckmilkprod. I've had to take a little bit of time off from my Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice critical reception reviews of the reviews for a little while because I'm going to be taking some time off as well. So it's going to be a little bit, probably I'll get back to that in July. So if you're interested in that, I'll be scheduling some live streams over there. And just as a personal /Supergirl Radio mention, just to give everybody a heads up, Supergirl Radio in general, Morgan and myself were taking a little time off because we have to every now and then just take a little bit of time off to get get refreshed and it takes some time off from podcasting. But that does not mean you're not going to get some new Supergirl Radio episodes. We've already pre-recorded some to publish and schedule. So if you're a regular Supergirl Radio listener or a viewer on the YouTube channel, it's going to be like we never left. So even though we're taking some time off, you're not going to miss a beat. Everything's going to operate as normal for the next couple of weeks. So you're not going to miss anything, which is the great part. So even though Supergirl Radio is going to take some time off just to regroup and refresh, got to do that a couple of times a year. Or otherwise, as a podcaster, you're going to burn out and you're going to get stressed out and burned out and just kind of overly tired. Sometimes you get exhausted as a podcaster and you're like, I can't do this forever. But sometimes you have to regroup and refresh, and that helps get back into the podcasting game. So we have to do that a couple of times a year. And so for the summer, we're going to be doing that. So if you are interested in checking out the next couple of YouTube premieres, so we're not going to be live and wired like we normally are for the next couple of weeks, but we are going to do some video premieres on youtube.com/DCTV podcast. So during the video premiere of our episodes on Future State, Kara Zor-El's Superwoman, and also an interview that I did with a very special guest, Morgan Glennon, where I asked her questions about writing a comic book story that she recently did for By Visibility, the part 2 anthology that she wrote a story for. I asked her some questions about that. And so we did a little interview segment where I interviewed her. So that's going to be coming out soon. And all of those things will also not only be in the audio podcast feed, but also be video premieres on the YouTube channel and will be posts on the Supergirl Radio Facebook page. So you won't miss those there as well. So if you normally watch on the Facebook page, you'll get them there as well. But with a video premiere on YouTube, you can watch it and also hop in the live chat function. So if you like the gathering together with other fans, you can still do that with the video premiere. So you can gather and chat with each other while you watch, and we'll be able to see those live chat and comments later on. So if you still want to gather on Tuesday nights, that's still going to be available to you. So I just wanted to let everybody know what the plan was. So it's going to look like normal, but Morgan and I are taking a little time off for just a little bit of a podcasting break. So I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of that. All right. Well, I guess that's going to wrap it up for just kind of take care of business for our Krypto the Superdog, whether it's a Superdog or a Super Dash Dog character spotlight. So hope everybody enjoyed learning about a Krypto and the Man of Steel's best friend, and sometimes the Girl of Steel's best friend. So that's going to do it for this episode of Supergirl Radio. But until next time, I'm still Rebecca Johnson, and I couldn't decide whether to end the episode as pup in a way or rough in a way, because they do both of those on Krypto, the Superdog animated series. So I guess I'm just going to go pup and away.
McGurk! I love typing.
Not mess with my Google Docs, Meeksy.
Supergirl Radio is going live every night of the week. How do you like it? Is becoming a human burrito a plus or a minus? I don't know. It does seem snug.
I mean, they say you are what you eat.
Kira.
I love that.
So I do a podcast called Supergirl Radio, and one of our segments is Lena Luthor, Boardroom or Ballroom. Because
she looks like a boss in this coat.
Nasty Luthor like a different Luthor? It's not just Lena being mean?
No.
Helen Slater here. So fun to know that you're hosting a podcast called Supergirl Radio.
Yeah!